Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. Today we're going to have a go at making this card, and this is using embossing paste or modelling paste, and I've also used a stencil and a matching die set, and these were free with Papercraft Essentials magazine a few weeks ago. So to make the card I have a top folding A2 sized note card, and I've also cut myself another piece that will fit on the front. This is going to get trimmed down. Now I'm going to use the solid parts of the stamp. This is the solid part, this is the outline. So I'm going to use the solid part to the stamp, and I'm going to create a background on the separate piece of card that I've got. Now for this I'm going to use distress inks, and I've got 2 shades of pink and 2 shades of green. So I'm going to start with the palest colours first. So with this is a Victorian velvet. So with the Victorian velvet I'm just going to ink up the stamp. Now I want a very pale image on my card, and I'm not bothered about it going off the card. So I'm just going to stamp this down wherever I want it on my background, and I'm just going to add it randomly until the card is filled, and you can add it just off as well, and second generation stamping will be a lot paler. So I'm just going to fill this with the flowers, and then I'm going to fill it with the leaves. So I'll come back to you in a second once this is completed. So now I'm going to the solid part of the leaf, and I'm going to use Bundled Sage, which is the palest of the greens that I've got. And again I'm just going to stamp this on to the background, and I'm going to change the direction of it as I go along, and some of it's off the card. And it doesn't have to be anything special, spectacular. It's just getting the pale colours down on that card, on that paper. Okay, so I think that'll do fine. Okay, don't forget to clean your stamps off before you put them back on your acetate sheet, and then they're ready for you to use again next time. So the next thing to do now is to take your stencil, and of course you can change the direction that your flower goes. If you look at the moment, the flower's going off to the left, but if you flip the stencil over it will go to the right. Now, I personally want mine to go to the left, so I'm just going to place it on top of my card that I've just created the background for, and I'm just going to tape it down so that it doesn't move. Now when you're taping it down, make sure that you don't cover up the stencil, because that will spoil your design. So what I need now is a spatula, and if you don't have a spatula just use an old credit card or an old plastic card, and you need some embossing paste or modelling paste. These two are two different companies. This is called embossing paste, this is called modelling paste, but they're more or less the same thing. You can also make a homemade version of this, but I'll cover that in another video. So for now I'm going to use the bought one. So I'm just going to add some of this with my spatula, and I'm going to cover that design. So just spreading it out like you would some toast. And make sure it's all covered, and then take your spatula and remove the excess. And then once you've done that, put the lid back on your paste so that it doesn't go hard, and make sure that you clean off your spatula, because if you leave the modelling paste on your spatula it will go hard and you won't be able to use it again. So now you can remove your tape. And you're also going to need to clean your stencil straight away otherwise you'll spoil it and you won't be able to use it. So once you've removed it now, you have that design on your card. So I'm going to cover this now with some white embossing powder, and I'm just going to make sure that it's all covered, and we'll put it on a piece of scrap paper first. So we'll just cover all that with some of the wow, and then we'll tap off the excess, and then I'm going to heat that. Now as you heat the embossing powder on the modelling paste, it bubbles up and it gives you a really nice texture to your leaves. So make sure that that's dry, and then we'll go on to the next stage. So once this is cold, I'm going to a darker shade of the pink, and this is aged mahogany, and I'm just going to use a little finger dauber and put some ink onto it, and then all I'm going to do is just touch the embossing powder, or the melted embossing powder, on the flower. So we're just going to add some colour to this raised area, and because it's all textured, it just grabs it in different areas, which makes it look really pretty. Now you can leave it like that if you want to, or you can go in a lot deeper and press your dauber right into the card, and that will transfer all that ink onto your paper that's underneath. So once you've done the flower, you're going to do exactly the same with the green. Just come down the leaves and the stem very lightly to start with. And this is forest moss, the one that I'm using here. So now I'm going to go in a little bit heavier, and it's picking up all the texture in the embossing paste. So once you've done that and you're happy with it, don't forget distress inks stay wet for a little bit longer. So give it a quick blast with your heat gun, and that will just dry the inks, and then we can move on to the next bit. Now this is one that I made earlier, and this turned out really nice, but this is the one that I've just done for you now on camera, and as I was doing it, some of the embossing powder came off. Now if that happens to you, you might just think, oh gosh, I've ruined it, and you'll throw it away. But don't, because you can always find some way to disguise what you've done. So all I'm doing is just adding one little pink pearl into the middle of that missing embossing powder, and then we'll decorate the rest of it with some pearls after. But that is just how to mask a mistake that you make, or an accident that you have. So now I'm going to trim this down so that it's just alongside the actual embossing on the stenciling. We'll just trim it off there a little bit, and we'll just trim it off the other side a little bit. Now that makes it too small or too narrow for the front of the card, but I've done that deliberately because what I want to do is add in some extra decoration down this side, as I've done on this one. Now you can add a strip of silver or gold card down the side, or some glitter card, but all I'm using is just some washi tape. So I'm just going to put a piece of washi tape down the side, and I'm going to put another piece alongside it. Then I'm going to trim those off. So with my scissors I'm going to trim those off. And then underneath this I'm going to add in some foam tape, and that will sit along there. So on the back of this I've put some foam, craft foam, some foam that you can buy from the kids department in the craft shop, and I'm just going to glue this into place. Now once that's fastened to my card, I can just trim it off at the bottom, just a little bit, and then we can make a sentiment to add to that card. So for the sentiment, I've stamped it in white on black card, and just by changing the sentiment on the front of that card, you can make it for any occasion that you want. And I've just added foam pads to the back, and that's just going to sit. You can either sit it off the card or you can have it just on the edge, but I'm going to put that one along there, and I think we'll use the birthday one instead. So we'll have the birthday one along there, and then the last thing I'm going to do is just add in some more pearls just to tie everything together. So we'll add this along there, and then I'll just add in a few pearls to sit on the card just to finish that look off. And we'll add a little one in that mistake there, and a little one there. And I think that's a pretty card. So although I made a mistake on it, we've covered it up, and that card now looks quite pretty. So there you have a couple of cards, different shades of pink on the flowers. You can make your flower any colour that you wish. Add your sentiment in to match your design, and that would be suitable for any occasion. So I do hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have, please give it the thumbs up, and why not subscribe to my channel so that you never miss a video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.